Good morning, friends. Thanks for being here today. And thank you for joining us here with Journey Home Meditation for our morning sit. This is a shared practice. So thank you for sharing your practice with us. This morning we are going to have a bit of breath work together, some light meditative practice, and some contemplation. And I'm very happy to be here today. So let's begin with just a few simple breaths. We're not going to change anything about the way we're breathing right now. Just give yourself a few moments where you let your mind and your body and your spirit and everything about this being right now come together gently. Begin with a deep exhalation. Follow the sensation of the breath in the body. Let's take a few intentional breaths together. We're going to breathe in through our nose to the bottom of our belly. And taking these breaths, it is beneficial to move your body into a position of facilitating that breath. So, lengthening the spine as much as you can, sitting up if you can. I find sitting on a pillow or mat with an extra pillow under my bum helps to elevate my hips, that helps to strengthen and lengthen my spine. Resting with my shoulders relaxed, palms facing up so that my shoulders are rolled back, bringing the shoulder blades together just a touch in the back to open my chest and open my heart. Lifting the chin so that you're not collapsing down onto your chest with your chin. Breathing in through the nose, filling the belly, letting the chest lie. Breathing in. And when we exhale, slowly exhale entirely. Breathing in and release. Breathing in and release. Even as you return to the breath, try to bring an extra awareness to your out breath. If you find yourself sitting and holding your breath, just start to slowly release breath in those moments. I have a little bit of a mantra this morning. When you breathe in, acknowledging that you suffer, that at times you suffer. And then when we breathe out, acknowledging that we are okay. Even if we don't feel okay in the moment, even if we don't think we are operating okay, we are breathing and we are okay. It's okay to not feel great. That's still okay. One of the greatest teachings was from a monk that I'd heard about this teaching. This monk said, was asked, picked up at the airport. The monk was coming to visit to do some teachings, and the person picking him up knew that the monk's teacher had recently died. And the person said to the monk, "How are you?" And the monk looked at him and said, "I could not be better." And the person was like, "Oh, come on, you can be honest with me. I know that it must be hard." He said, "Yes, it is very hard. This is why I could not be better." And the monk went on to teach that in any moment, recognizing that right now I could not be better than I am, things could not be better than they are. This is a recognition that whether it is the most wonderful, beautiful day and everything seems to be going your way and everything is coming up roses, or whether it's an extremely difficult day and it looks very dark and grim and it's hard to see your way through it. That is true either way. And I could not be better. I am exactly as I am right now. And I think that for myself, I've got multiple things happening in my body at any moment, multiple personalities, multiple thoughts. And for me, understanding that is a way of acknowledging something that part of me wants to struggle against. I have the difficult things happening in life, yes. I have physical ailments, yes. I have financial ailments, Lord. I have stress. I have worry. There is terrible things happening in the world, yes. And there are beautiful things as well, yes. Yes, and yes, and yes. This is all speaking a truth. And acknowledging that instead of struggling against it, because there's a personality that I have inside that wants to struggle against that. Oh, no, no, you're fine. You're fine. It's going to be okay. Stop focusing on the negative. We have those teachings that we picked up somewhere along the way that if you talk about bad things, you're going to call bad things in. So stay positive, this toxic positivity. Because toxic positivity is not actually positivity, it's ignoring the difficulty. And ignorance is never really a healthy way to enter into a relationship, right? We don't want to ignore things. We want to acknowledge everything as it is. This is where true love, unconditional love, can spring forward. It's with acknowledgement, not with ignoring. We don't love someone and ignore the difficult things about them. We love someone and acknowledge that they are an entire being and there are difficult things about entire beings. And there are things that we work on, and there are things that we're healing from, and there are things that we aren't even aware that we are partaking in that are damaging or unhealthy yet. We won't know that and for some time maybe. Acknowledging that is acknowledging and embracing our wholeness. So that part of me that wants to fight against the not feeling okay, well, in simply acknowledging in the mantra we're going to do today, acknowledging that I suffer and I'm okay. This is seems so dichotomous, but it's the same. It's the same thing. And that acknowledgement of the contradiction is embracing of the greater possibility that we have. It widens our view. It opens our arms and it brings us in to our heart, and we realize just how big our heart can be. So, breathing in today, we'll say, though I suffer. Breathing out, I am okay. Though I suffer, I am okay. Though I suffer, breathing in, I am okay. Breathing out, though I suffer, I am okay. Let's just allow ourselves a few moments of this practice, inviting the bell. Thank you for those few moments. I talk a lot about togetherness on this practice, in this practice. And it's an interesting thing to talk about because most of us are sitting in isolated spaces, but we're not alone. We're not isolated. We're just in our individual personal spaces. But If we are focusing our thoughts and we are focusing our consciousness and our intention, then we can become together, because that togetherness isn't the way that we may think of togetherness. Um, the togetherness doesn't always include side by side, and togetherness doesn't always include even thinking the same or speaking the same or behaving the same way. But togetherness is the recognition, simply the recognition that you and I are bound together in this existence, meaning I affect you, you affect me. So when we have that mantra that says I repeatedly, though I suffer, I am okay. This is compassion. Um, there really isn't a reason to distinguish between self compassion and compassion for others, because that, as Ramana Maharshi said, when asked about how to deal with others, he said, "There are no others." This compassion is shared suffering. So, self compassion or compassion for others is the same thing. It's somewhat useless adjectives that we throw around it. So this is what togetherness means, is to touch into our compassion, our shared suffering, and to understand inherently that your well-being and my well-being are connected, right? This, I hope that that is clear, that we don't have to look the same, dress the same, talk the same. We don't have to speak the same language or believe the same things. Our beliefs are so temporary. They're so strong that it's almost as if a belief is a passion. And a passion, of course, means suffering. That the more strongly we hold a belief above anything else, the stronger our suffering will be. And that's a slippery slope into nihilism for some people. But the question that's being asked there isn't to uh, what do you believe? It's what are you willing to acknowledge, even with your belief? What are you willing to acknowledge? And the belief of being alone is a true belief that many of us have. We believe that we are alone. There's the trope of we're born alone and we die alone, but this is not true either. This is not true. Nobody's born alone. We're born from a being into a world of beings, into becoming being. And when we die, we enter into a level of something that none of us quite know. But entering into that unknown together, I think it's safe to assume that there is nothing alone about that. Even if you're the only one in the room, your memory holds so many people, and so many people's memory holds you. And there's life in memory, there's life in the way that we remember. So when we talk about togetherness here, that's what we mean. We mean compassion. And I once was taught that it is really, I think it was maybe even Abraham Lincoln who said this, um, said it's difficult to hate a man up close. Maybe it wasn't Lincoln. Maybe Lincoln said, if I don't like a person, I find I just need to get to know them better, which sounds like the opposite of what Mark Twain would say is, as soon as I like someone, I find I just need to get to know them better. But at any rate, I'm squirreling. So today's practice is a practice of co-regulation. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've been watching people and the way that we co-regulate. So the mantra, though I suffer, I am okay. That's preparing yourself to know that you are loved and lovable. You are accepted and acceptable, even if you are suffering. That's okay. You can come to the table. And in knowing that, that prepares us to say to anyone that we come across that you are loved and lovable, you are accepted and acceptable, and you are welcome at the table. And that's a serious practice. That's a serious practice. Where do we draw lines? Where do we hold personal boundaries and create external rules that keep people safe while also functioning from the knowledge that your wellness and my wellness are bound together? How do we do that? That's a good question, and that's not one I can answer. Maybe it's one we can answer collectively. I'm asking if you would like to participate in the comments on YouTube or Facebook or Substack. If you're watching this anywhere other than Substack, I want to recommend that you check out Substack. It's free. It's a pretty phenomenal forum for writers and creators of poetry and art, uh, and I host this practice on substack.com. So if you go to Substack and look for Journey Home Meditation, you can find that there and you can interact at that platform. It's a much gentler platform than most social medias, which is full of people's unbridled fit throwing and emotional dysregulation. And speaking of co regulation is the idea that if I am dysregulated and you are regulated, you will, your presence, just even your presence could help me to find calm and peace. But it also happens the other way. When we are not dysregulated and we come into a social situation full of dysregulated people, it is uh, often the case that we become emotionally dysregulated as well. This is what people call empath behavior. Um, and really, that's not uncommon for people, even people who aren't aware of it, who aren't don't have an acute sense that they're sensing this energy change from others. We do affect one another. We do. So keeping that in mind when we engage with social media, to choose platforms that maybe help us to be gentler, kinder, calmer, more loving, I think is a good thing. So I like Substack for those reasons. Um, but the question that I want to ask, if you can comment on, is how do you accommodate yourself when you aren't healthy, when you are physically ill or emotionally unwell or mentally struggling? Uh, how do you accommodate yourself? Second part. And do you do this for others? Can you accommodate yourself when you are representing the worst of the behaviors that you might have? And can you accommodate others when they are as well? Can you accommodate others when they are at their best? And can you accommodate yourself when you're at your best? Many people have zero issues with accepting crisis, but I may find it very difficult to accept joy, find it very difficult to accept accolades or love or kindness when it's given to them. So that's the question with the practice today, is how do you accommodate yourself? How do you accommodate others? So let's take a few more breaths together. Um, I'm not going to do bell hooks today. We're just going to move on. Thanks for being here today. We're going to close out today with just a few gentle breaths together, inviting the bell. Breathing in, though I suffer, I am okay. Though I suffer, I am okay. Though I suffer, I am okay. Hmm. Thanks for being here today, everyone. I appreciate it when you like, share, and comment on these practices. It's always good to have an energetic exchange. Um, and you never know. Your perspective may just be that hand reaching into the hole that someone else is trying to climb out of. And that's not a small thing, but it's just a small moment in your day. So thanks for being here. Thanks for engaging. I appreciate you. Hmm.